Slam Poetry. Slam, yes. The National Federation of State Poetry Societies decided this year to start an annual slam poetry competition, which is going to take place in Florida later this month. And they asked each state to come up with a slam winner. Now, OPA hasn't been in a slam very much, so we turned to Slamlandia from Literary Arts, and they held various qualifying competitions, and they worked their way down to a final winner who's sideways right now on my screen, and I don't know why. There you go. And the winner is Nicole Jackson. And we are going to help finance her trip to Florida. And we're so proud that she could do this. Now, for those who don't know, slam it's a form of spoken word poetry where it's performed, not just read, and frequently from memory, which is hard for some of us folks. But I think we can all learn a little bit from that technique and getting more energy into our readings and really making them come alive. And that's something that Nicole has been able to do. Nicole is an 18-year-old recent high school graduate from McDaniel High School. She fell in love with sports first, but then music, but always loved writing and get excited when it came time to read or write poetry and short stories in her classes. She first performed in a small coffee shop, a poem she wrote during a freshman English class. She went on to win first place with the same poem 3 years later in both the Verslandia, that's for young people, and the Slamlandia 2022 competitions. It's always been a dream of Nicole's to share her story with people, whether it's through music, sports, fashion, or art. Poetry is one way that she loves expressing herself. And we've invited her to share a poem with us today. Please welcome Nicole Jackson.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm just really excited to go to Florida and just to meet people and just to be in a state and somewhere I've never been. I try to get my lighting better, so I apologize for that. But so I'm gonna get into my poem. Trapped. Like a bird in a cage, hidden from society, I'm happy to announce that today is my last day. I will not let your opinions control my mind anymore. I'm happy to announce that today is my last day. I'm not a prisoner and my feelings shall be let free. Father, I'm me, and you will see eventually all the pain you have conflicted. I'll be let out like the time we got evicted, left out cold. Freezing like all of your hearts judging me for who I am. Now I don't give a damn. I will soon wash out my feelings like mother washes out the blood from her mouth. Saw tears drip down my face, white crust on the side of my lip, getting ready for school. Ready for the judgmental stares, wonder if it's my hair or if it's just me. I'll walk out to Vanessa and scream, fuck you. Today is the day I will be free. This cage is getting rusty and my heart is getting tired. Time to make people disappointed like when MJ retired. I will amaze you with my magic trick. I walk out to Christian and scream, you dick. I'm letting bombshells go. My mouth is a grenade. I will make you sleep with my beautiful serenade. Sleep like the nights I was tired of crying. Then you will wake and soon realize everything you did was a mistake. But then it'll be too late. Maya Angelou, I will rise from the dead, but I'm not Jesus if he even exists. I'll be free like Cosby will never be. I will not throw my life away anymore. Watch my body curl up to the wooden floor, coughing at the dust that enters my nose. I run. You chase. But I just want to keep you safe. I jump, you stop. Let's too tired to follow my every move, or maybe I'm just too tired of being controlled by you. I get away, jumping up and down, never been this happy in my life, singing that dumb Pharrell song. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Green grass tingles in between my toes. Maybe this is a promised land. This is what it feels like to be free. Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo. So you're heading to Florida later this weekend, later this month. Y'all all ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I'm nervous, yeah, but I'm ready.
Yeah, I understand that. So what's the plan for next year? Or this?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
just keep writing and speaking the truth.
Thank you. I plan to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we've got a couple of gentlemen from the University of Oregon to talk about their undergraduate poetry awards. You've got David and Jeffrey. Who wants to be the spokesperson at this point?
Well, I got some things to say, and I think Jeff does too. So
Okay,
we'll both be spokespeople. How's that sound?
sounds good. Nice picture.
Okay. Hey, thanks. Bruges.
Hmm.
All right. So Jeff, you don't mind if I start?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. So, hello, I'm Dave DiLorenzo. I'm the Director of Special Collections and University Archives at the University of Oregon. Soon after my arrival at the UO Library in 2016, I was asked to join Jeff Steger in the activities of the Oregon Poetry Collection Committee. The OPA collection at the State Library had recently been transferred, and among other things, we needed to finalize an updated memorandum of understanding. And we were very excited about the potential of this collaboration to build and maintain a comprehensive Oregon poetry collection and night library. I was personally excited because of my own lifelong interest in poetry. In those committee discussions, I proposed we collaborate on an undergraduate poetry prize, and the idea was warmly embraced by both the leadership at OPA and UO. Jeff and I worked closely with Eric Mueller and Joy McDowell, representing OPA, to hammer out the myriad details of the award processes. Now, there are many myriad processes, as you can imagine. It was a great pleasure to engage with such wonderful, supportive OPA members, themselves Oregon poets, to provide deserving undergraduates a tangible show of support for their nascent work. The first prizes were awarded in fall of 2018 in the library's browsing room as part of a well-attended OPA conference. As the prize is awarded every other year, we were determined in 2020 to continue it, even in the face of the global pandemic. Sadly, though, the prize was awarded only by email, not at an OPA meeting. Although we were still not back fully to on-site gatherings yet, I am so pleased to see the prize continue. I extend my hearty congratulations to this year's award members, Amelia and Mia. I wish to thank Jeff Steger for his yeoman efforts to herd the UO cats, and there are many, and ensure that the Poetry Prize is awarded. I also want to express my sincere gratitude to the OPA for their continuous financial support and for their vital collaboration. As this month marks the 100th anniversary of Eliot's The Wasteland, I will end here as I hear him nudging me. Hurry up, please, it's time. Hurry up, please, it's time. Thank you, folks. Jeff?
Okay. Well, thank you, David. If it's time for the poets to read, they'll have to wait just a moment longer. As I also would like to say just a few words. I'm Jeff Steiger, the humanities librarian, who along with 2 OPA members and one of our MFA students here at the UO was one of the judges for the contest. Doing this is always one of my favorite parts of my job. It's a pleasure to get to see young poets beginning the interminable wrestling with expression, putting their experience together in their own irreducible individual ways. It's also hard. Entrants submit up to 5 poems, and each in even a clutch of 20 contestants yields 100 entries, 100 poems in different styles, forms, voices, subject matters, tones, slants. And we live, I think, in a latitudinarian time in which a poem can be good in many different ways. It can make one anxious about the possible anarchy of criteria. But it's also exciting because it's a chance to think with the other judges and attain a provisional clarity about what one might want from a poem. And every time I've participated, we have, after comparing notes and conversing a while, sometimes taking an afternoon, come to a consensus readily enough. It turns out that the criteria are not so elusive as they might originally seem. Taking this year's winners as examples, I'm able to say that the poems that stand out have a clear trajectory, a distinctive shape. They take you on a journey in a short compass. At the same time, they show a deliberateness of wording, a feel for sonority and patterning, a metaphorical slyness. They also both entertain compelling subjects and ideas. So there are a lot of aspects which make them good poems. But these aspects, technique, form, subject, expressivity, exist separately only for the purposes of the analyst. Mainly, they make for an overall cogency that we can enjoy, and that's what you now get to do.
Shall I introduce the young ladies? We'll take it in alphabetical order. Amelia Hammerlink is a 3rd-year cultural anthropology student with minors in creative writing and German. She grew up in Arizona and Eastern Oregon. After graduation, she's interested in pursuing museum-adjacent jobs because of her interest in bridging the gap between the academia and the public. Her long-term poetry goals are to develop a strong writing habit, submit for publication regularly, and get involved in poetic communities. Did we mention you get a membership in OPA for this? So please welcome Amelia Hammerlink.
Hello. By the way, I have COVID, so if I
I'm
start
sorry.
in the middle of this reading, that's why. Okay. This is Heritage Braid. This is the story of my Sephardic great-great-grandfather, who gave me my Mediterranean tan and caterpillar eyebrows. He changed his name from Moise to Morris to sound more Gentile after leaving Tunisia. The family told my mama he converted. His baby son's stillborn body in a Jewish cemetery suggests otherwise. His wife Mathilde traded in her crucifix for a Star of David. At 5, I begged Mama to let me wear the pewter Hansa hand he made 100 years ago. But no, if I lost it, she would never forgive me. This is the story of taming wild things. Every time you look into a dog's toothy grin and feel something, it's because their kind have walked beside us since the last glacial maxim 20,000 years ago, and lent a helping paw in every single domestication process since. This is the story of cave paintings. If you squint, you can't always tell them apart from cathedral frescoes. This is the story of an epigenetic memory. When my doctor puts the IUD in, my cup overflows with joy. Heavy lies the weight of unburned witches in my bloodline, beauties married off to beasts. A vision visits of my grand-mère discreetly popping birth control pills, feeding my mama soup à poireaux et pommes de terre with a glass of Catholic silence. This is the story of your gut bacteria. You're not a you, but an ecosystem, a host. Just like mama metamorphosed into to throw summer and winter equinox parties every year, although I always forget to ask her why. They're pagan holidays out of vogue since Constantine ruled Rome. So here's the story of mama. In a 1970s cinema thick with secondhand smoke, she saw the devil's face in the movie Monster and went home to tell Mammy that she'd never attend mass again. Because ain't the Church Française just practical effects like that? The threat of hell, smoke, and mirrors, no more real than a giant gorilla climbing the Chrysler. This is the story of buttercup remnants fossilized in mammoth stomachs. Imagine a Neanderthal making love to a sapien in a yellow field. They're your thick-skulled ancestors. You may not remember them, but your bones do. Every time you learn about a Bigfoot, tall man song, Sasquatch, Yeti, remember that we used to have neighbors. What died in us with them? Is that why we're profoundly lonely? There's an ape-shaped hole in our hearts, all of us. Before I read the next one, I just want to shout out my mom because she's on this call right now watching, and that poem's about her, so I love you. And this poem is called Elegy for My 17-year-old Self. If you need her, she'll be in the garden, reading the Norton Anthology of Classical Mythology. Her guardian angel in the gardenias hesitates, considers emerging to reveal their 9 eyes and unkempt concern. They finally retreat behind the ivy-encrusted brick wall and await a moment of greater duress. If you need her, she'll be in the garden reading the Norton Anthology of Classical Mythology, the soup mug steam fogging her goggles, dusk's knife-like bite coloring cheeks pink. She's heard that salt makes slugs shrivel, but has no interest in such boyish pursuits. Instead, she watches them crawl across her picnic blanket and into her dish of coconut cake crumbs. If you need her, she'll be in the garden, laying the Norton Anthology of Classical Mythology over her eyes, begging the flower beds to swallow her whole, so she too may wilt come winter. She likes her buildings rotting and ravaged by mud and wildflowers. This is the last version of herself who hasn't been told, but I really want to. But you like it, don't you? Just relax. We're not being that loud. No one can hear us. Don't worry. It's okay. It's okay. For now. She still sees herself in Artemis, who fearlessly strikes Pythagoras from the mountain for all his ugly trespasses, on page 74. Thank you.
I think the future of poetry is in good hands. Mia Vance is an emerging poet, literary scholar, and recent graduate of the University of Oregon, where she was named valedictorian and poet laureate of the English department and graduated summa cum laude with the BA in English and creative writing minor. Criminy. Mia came to poetry as a venue for self-expression as a child, and while her creative interests have commingles over the years in the forms of fiction, theater, arts, and dance, poetry has found its way again and again into her life and work. One of the founding members of the Eugene-based poets collective, the Dead Parrots Society, Mia has performed her poetry solo, in collaboration with local dance performance groups, and alongside her husband, the composer, musician Colin Vance. This year, Mia is honored to continue her studies in the Writer's Master's Program in the land of saints and scholars at the National University of Ireland, Galway. When not studying, writing, or performing, Mia can be found wandering in the woods, bay gazing or tucked away with a skein of yarn or a good book in the comfiest chair in the house. In lieu of popping by for tea, you can visit her on facebook.com/Mia V Poetry. Mia Vance, what you got?
Hi, thank you. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. It's an honor to be here and to share the virtual stage with such luminous young poets. So I feel like I'm in great company. I have two poems to share with you this evening. The first is called Pinkening. When the oaks have let go the last of their little ones, and the pines have let their hackles down, the path they've kept secret comes to meet my breath adrift on the air, there at the edge of the forest, and me there too, waiting again in the midst of it. And when the goldfinch and thrush have given way to kinglets and geese, and even these have gone silent as snow again, the echo of their song leads my aspening hands, and the rest of me too, to the edge of the iced-over lake, where no one sings for fear of waking it. When the sun has eaten just enough oranges to grow strong again, and the moon tapers thin as a sliver, the skin of the water fractures, greets my hesitant steps with a shiver at the edge of recognition, and generously lets the rest of me into its thawing arms. And when I've waded deep enough into the darkening heart of the water, and the ripples have reached the banks on all sides and come back again, there I find the girl I used to be, pale where once was pink, but pinkening again. In her throat, 6 pomegranate pips, and in her hands, and my hands too, a pulsing bulb of narcissus. Thank you very much. And the second, and thank you, the second and final poem I have for you this evening is called Fault Lines. I look for what's left of my father's face in the mirror, tracing the topography of cheekbone and nose, a field of furrowed brow, canyon of cleft chin, genetic, our eyes the same shade of peat moss, same quicksilver ribbons in the thickets of our hair, different last names now, a distance growing inch by auburn inch. I search through the coats long gone cold in my grandfather's closet, feel along the sleeves for phantom limbs, and sink my hands to the bottom of each pocket, hoping to find what he carried, to unbury the key to a house by the sea that smells like Easter Sunday all year long, but I come up empty-handed every time. I listen for a hint, the haver, the waver of my great-grandfather's voice in my throat, watch the weather vane twitch to see which way it might be coming from, which way it might be going, try to harmonize and hope somehow he'll hear me where he is and know me, an echo arcing back against the centuries. I dig for the language my great-great-great-grandfather left planted in the land that it might grow to have a chance to feed a nation he would never live to see. Lift the russet grammar from its grave, rinse off the blight of empire, and take it home to teach me how to sing hymns as old as sin. I follow the fault line of my great-great-great-grandfather's name. Look for its likeness on every map I find. Pray it hasn't faded with age, lost its way in a fold, or over a border, sunk in a crease in the sea that spreads, that keeps spreading between us, never to be seen again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mia. That was wonderful. So I'm so proud of you guys. You're wonderful.